Hi everyone, I'm Rituparna Ghosh. I am an alumni of the Department of Management Studies, the 2005 batch. Gosh, it's been 18 years this year, and I mean, it still feels like yesterday. So currently I'm a writer. I write romantic fiction. My first book released in 2019 called Unloved in Love. And after that, I've written 2 more novellas, all romance and all fiction. In my day job, in my regular job, I'm a transformational life coach, which essentially helps anybody who has a particular issue or needs a direction or is at the crossroads with anything. I mean, be it a professional crossroads, personal crossroads. I help them figure out which direction they need to take. And I essentially, like, I'm a restorer of a personality. So I kind of take away all the layers of expectations and obligations that has been put on a person, and I kind of help them shine authentically. So that's what I do in my current role. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, so I run a personal business. So I do a bunch of things. On my day job, I own a small company called as Laughter, Conversations and Coaching. Along with that, I also do pro bono work with a lot of charities around the UK. I'm currently based out of UK. So I do a pro bono coaching on a lot of charities. There is a charity called as Age UK, which essentially deals with people who are aged and alone. And I help coach them, kind of help them understand how they can best help these aged people, because the kids are away, they're in another country or another place, and they deal with a lot of depression and anxiety. I also work with a charity called as Yes Futures, which is a complete 360, 180-degree opposite. I coach children here. So the current advent of social media, current advent of everything is in everybody's face kind of a thing, right? So there are a lot of depression or insecurities that the children go through because they don't understand what's happening. I mean, everybody is living such a cool life, and in their own life feels very stark in comparison, right? So I help children build resilience. I help children communicate their anxiety better, to get confident in their own skin. So apart from my own personal coaching, these are the charities I work with. And I also am a supervisor coach. So I kind of help other coaches who are in training currently, kind of help them understand what are the nuances of coaching. I recently got my ICF, that's International Coaching Federation certification. So yeah, that's the broad work that I do in coaching. And in writing, it's more of it's more of my passion. I mean, coaching is also my passion. Writing, I think I'm more focused on writing like novellas, which keeps happening in the background. Whenever I need some time off or I need a break, I kind of get back to writing. So recently another book of mine is coming out. So yeah, work-wise, this is who I am. The inspiration, I think somewhere it began with IIT, I guess, because so when I started writing this novel, I was going through a lot of internal changes. We just moved countries. I just had my son. I had taken a break from my career. So I've been working in research and analytics after my MBA for a while. I think I worked 10 years. And there were things happening. We were trying for a family, and there was just like suddenly it just became very overwhelming because you don't realize where your stop is. You just keep working and working and working, and then suddenly at one point you just realize that, okay, oh my god, there's too much. So I kind of went through a personal I wouldn't say transformation, maybe on my own. That I realized there's more to life. So I took a break, and then I had my son. So I was on a break for about 3 years. And then when I wanted to get back to work, that's when I realized that I don't want to go back to the same corporate job that I did. I enjoyed it and I was good at it. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I felt there's something more. And what really spoke to me was I needed to help people. And when I was trying to get or help people or figure out what is it that I want to do, I kept going back to college. I kept going back to kind of that cusp, right, where you just finish college and you start your so-called adult life. And there's always this discussion, the choices, the confusion, which way to choose. Do you want to choose what your family wants you to do? Do you want to choose what, your society or what's expected out of you in terms of, as a graduate from IIT? Or do you do something that you really want yourself? Also, there is all the romantic entangles. I've known love in IIT, so there was all these confusion that kept coming back into my head, and I think all that confusion finally ended up in a form of a book here in Unloved in Love. So it is a story of a girl who's graduated and who wants to, like, who's still in college. Starts with when she's still in college, and she wants to follow her dreams and be an entrepreneur, but in the way there is, of course, her mother who expects her to take up a job. Then there is a boyfriend that she meets in IIT who's has different agenda. Then there's another guy who has another agenda. So it's all the confusion and the choices that you have to take at a tender age of 20 to 23, maybe. I think right now it's more of so in terms of this, the expectations and the obligations that we had faced, and I'm sure every generation that comes across has it different. Things were very different for my mother. Now things are very different for me. Like, I was never expected to kind of only get married immediately or set up a house or stuff like that. But I was expected to follow a certain direction, a direction which will make me independent, a direction which will make me go on a set path, right? I think right now the youth has a lot more options. So that way it's more beneficial because there's so much exposure, they know, and all the parents are, I was one of the lucky ones in my I should call it a generation, like it's 18 years ago. So in my generation, I was one of the lucky ones who was allowed to kind of, run after her dreams. And even then, I didn't know much. I just knew, okay, engineering, medical, law were the three options when I was in like school. And I didn't want to do a medical, so engineering automatically. Then after engineering, no jobs. I was in production engineer. So it was very difficult in 2002, I'm talking about. So it's very difficult for a girl to get a job in production floor because, they don't even have women's toilet. They didn't even have women's toilets at that time. So that was actually one of the excuses that a company gave me for not hiring me. But I think now things have changed. They are more open to women coming in different. We see so many women in STEM these days, and they're more open to women coming in different positions, in different fields. But at the same time, I think there is a general unrest in the women of today because it's how do I say? It's a question of, we were limited, but they are too open. So sometimes I feel that's what hinders their progress, because there is, of course, there's this whole inbuilt of patriarchy that they have gone through when they were a kid, and now they're suddenly being told to be open and questioning everything. So I think somewhere that leads to a confusion. I'm not sure if I'm setting my point clearly. So it's more of too much of choices, too much of noise, too much of social media, too much of comparisons. So it's very difficult to stay focused and really figure out what is it that you want. So ultimately, I think a woman, or even a man for that matter, anybody would succeed if they're very true to themselves. Because ultimately, if you're not authentic to yourself, then somewhere that facade will break, and you'll end up kind of feeling delusioned. So that's something that is missing today. That figuring out what is it that you truly want yourself. Does that make sense? I think for them to, what do they need to do is they need to look inward. So maybe cancel out the noise that's outward so much, which is telling them, do this, do this, do this, do this. Maybe a better would be a wrong word. Maybe another way to grow is also grow internally, to also kind of get in touch with your own true self, to actually figure out what is it that you want. See, there are so for example, a lot of the youngsters decide their choices based on what they see others doing, right? It's like a comparison. So it's the same kind which we had, but we had it more in terms of education, like, you know, this uncle's daughter got 90%, what are you doing at 87%, like that. But now it's more of, you know, okay, they are going on a holiday, or they have gotten this new thing. I mean, of course, this is all pre-pandemic. Now nobody goes on holidays, but it's more of a comparison. Okay, even in pandemic, right? Okay, this person did this course, so I should also do this course. Why? What is the use of that course? Where are you headed? So maybe looking inward a lot more to understand what is it that gives you joy, gives you happiness, and then moving forward with that path.
So I guess it's good for them to pause, to take a break.
Yeah. To stop running. I mean, we say rat race and all that, and I realize that, you know, we need, I'm not saying that, you know, be extraordinary. There is a reason why we need to be ordinary, because we need to be common. We are common people, right? We are the mass. So we are the mass. So there are certain things which we have to do, which there is, of course, there's no choice that we have to do. Like, you know, for example, even though I'm talking to you, I know I have to go back to kitchen and I have to cook, because that's a common thing. But my point is, what exactly gives me joy? Talking to you is giving me joy. That's why I'm doing it. So take a pause and realize, you know, what is it that your heart truly wants? Not what's happening with your friend or your sister or your brother or your, you know, in-laws. Take a pause. So I think in terms of next book, it's going to come out hopefully this week. It's called The Boy with a Secret. It's one of my first book that I've written on pride. So it has a gay protagonist who when he comes out, when he tells his parents that he's gay, sets into progression a chain of events which is being devastated, like which has caused a lot of mayhem around. And it has kind of taken him 10 years to come to terms with that. So this is my first foray into writing about pride. So I'm very excited. And June is the Pride month. So I'm like full thrilled to be able to release it in this month. And in terms of next 5 years, I think, honestly, I don't know, Lata, I really don't know. Because it's like, you know, we made this life plans, right? So when I finished my coaching diploma, which was in 2020 January, I had this big plan, you know, I'll register my company, I'll do this marketing, I'll do this networking, and you know, I'll have a series of things, webinars and stuff. Only they were not webinars then, they were talks. It's supposed to be talks, like, you know, call people in a place and talk to them. But then pandemic hit. So I think my biggest learning from pandemic is to not like to have a fair idea of where it is that you want to head to, but to not be very attached to that idea. Because it took me a while. I mean, even though, you know, I've done my course, and you know, I know like I have all this self-regulation and mindfulness and all of that diploma I have done, but it was a very hard time for me to kind of suddenly realize that, okay, you know what, nothing I want, nothing that gives me joy, I can do. So in terms of a fair idea, I think it's more of setting up the business a lot more, and making coaching available for the larger crowd. Because right now there's this mindset that I struggle with, that coaching is something which is only few elite people go through, which is not true. I feel everybody, see, what is coaching? Coaching is essentially having a friend without any baggage, without any judgment, without any background, a complete, safe, non-judgmental environment where you can be unabashedly you, right? So, which is not true with any other relationship that you have, because, you know, whatever you do, however close friend you are, or however in love you are, the other person will always have a give and take relationship with you. In the coaching, it's not like that. Coaching is more where you can hear your own thoughts, where you can hear yourself thinking. And that's what I want to make available for the common masses. So I think my biggest focus right now in terms of with my coaching is to ensure that people know the joy of coaching, the benefit of coaching, and how they can best utilize it to have a more wholesome life.